This episode has been recorded as a part of the previous Healthy Habits podcast. We've decided to keep it now under the name Joyful, as the topics we've discussed remain extremely relevant, and it's just such a shame to miss out on this valuable conversation we had. Enjoy! You finished your studies and you landed your first job. It is now that the rest of your career starts, but it's not quite like what you've imagined. You chose the career you chose because it seemed safe, or maybe your parents work in the same field and you never really reflected upon what would you really like to do with your life. But now, as you march out to work 8 hours a day, you can't wait to get back home and do what really interests you. And you realize that the decisions you've been making in your life until now are not really yours. You drift from one place to another. Even when you go out with your friends, it is them who choose what you're going to do. Same with holiday plans, birthday gifts, and so on. As time passes by, you realize that you have never failed once. You have never taken a strong decision and never took risks to build a life you want. You continue to choose the safe option and not let down anyone from your surrounding. But is that really how you want to live the rest of your life? Today we are in Marseille, France, with our guest, Swann Xerri. He is an expert in leadership and performance and a professional coach who helps individuals in obtaining the ultimate performance in their lives, both personal and professional. He is the author of a course titled Be the Architect of Your Own Life, designed to build up one's self-esteem, sense of empowerment, and the feeling of direction. He is also a remarkable public speaker and an entrepreneur, and in his company he is promoting a holistic approach to health through body and mind practices. Swann has invited us to his family house and we discussed how and why we should become the architects of our lives. We discuss his career as a coach and how he helps others to develop their peak performance in professional and private areas of life. Swann shares his own personal story. He talks about the ups and downs in life and his own routines and habits. He also reveals the secret to building confidence and talks about how he prepares himself before giving a speech in front of thousands of people. Engaging in conversation with Swann was truly captivating, and I'm delighted to share the positive vibes from our discussion with you. Are you ready? Tune in with Healthy Habits Podcast. So is that correct, Swann?
Wow. Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, so do you agree with everything I said?
I do.
Okay.
Even though it seems even better than reality, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's always like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Salvin, do you think that you are the architect of your life?
Well, totally. In many ways, but I also think it's true that we inherit from our ancestors' genes. So we are what we are at birth, but from birth to death, we are the architects in so many ways. Physiologically, psychologically, we are the result of our everyday decisions. Mm-hmm. So whatever or wherever you come from, you always have an opportunity to change things.
Mm-hmm. And what is the role of your inheritance in it?
Well, I'm searching for the word in English, but maybe you know that the cells can change in a specific environment, physiological environment, and this is something that impacts ADN or DNA, in English, and DNA is then transmitted to new generations. So we are born with our ancestors' genes, traumas, habits. That's also why I think personal development, but also having very healthy habit is something that goes way beyond us, because the way we live today will have an impact on the future generations, on our kids and grandkids. So we really have to watch out for that, because we are giving them the best, but also the worst of what we have and who we are. But again, unless it's a pathology, and it's not always easy to change things, otherwise we can have a new impact regarding our habits and a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, you are the author of your program that says that you can be the architect of your life, and you think that you yourself are the author of your decisions and so on. Could you give me and our listeners an example where you think that it shows the best, that it is you who is in charge, in fact, of your decisions?
Well, I mean, there are two types of people. I'm more than 40 years old, so most of my friends are the same age as me. So it gives me the opportunity to see two types of people. The types of people that had a whole life that was made of non-decisions, and that had their whole lives impacted by or influenced mostly by their environment. Like if you were, on the sea and just being influenced by the waves, by the wind, and you end up 20, 30 years later and you don't even know how you're there or what you're doing there. And you have that other type of people that all their lives have been conscious, taking or making decisions towards dreams, goals, or the ideal life. Doesn't mean you end up having it, but at least you do try your best and you make efforts in a certain direction. I believe that if you don't have a specific goal that you want to go towards it's other people's goals that will influence you rather than you influencing your own goals. So I think we all shape our destiny regarding our everyday decision making.
When I first met you, it was, I think, 2 years ago.
Yes.
What struck me was your confidence.
Yes.
I think it's something that is really admirable. Is it something that has always accompanied you, or is it something that you've built over the years?
Well, it's a good question, but more or less both. I'm an extrovert as a personality type, which means I kind of speak with confidence from a paraverbal or non-verbal point of view. But it's not that people seem confident that they are, but though I am. So it's part of my personality, part of the way I have been raised, because I have parents that raised me with love, support, incredible memories, traveling the world, having a very strong, positive and mindset education, but also because I'm a pure product of life and experiences with, the good and the bad. So like everybody, I went to school, but I've lived the true ups and downs of life. I had 10 companies that I raised. Some were incredible success. Others were crazy failures. I've loved and being betrayed. Just the life that we all have. But I guess I'm not sure I'm doing anything different than anyone, but I've always looked life as a book, so going from one page to another, sometimes rereading several times the same page, but just trying to take lessons out of life. And that gives me the confidence of someone that has done the path, that has done the way. So I guess when in life you are bold enough to try many things, that you're not afraid to be hurt. So you just, put a step in front of another. I truly believe that life is difficult, right? But raising kids is super difficult. Having a long-term, beautiful relationship with someone you love is crazy difficult. You know what I mean? I mean, everything is difficult, but in some way it's choose your hard. As some people say, everything's hard. Just choose your hard. But when you accept the difficulties, the ups and downs of life, while you also accumulate experience and knowledge, and you feel stronger because you have lived and you know what it can look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's incredible that you have this point of view. But at the same time, I wonder what was like this first thing that happened to you when you started to build this point of view, because it's something I think that you must have put a lot of work and effort into having this perspective. Like you can have a failure and just give up, right? But there is something that makes it makes it happen in different direction for
True,
you. So
true.
you didn't give up, right? You just started to build something else and continue
Yes.
and move forward. So do you think that you can actually identify what was it for you? Or do you think it's too difficult? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, there are a lot of blurred lines, right? In life, sometimes you get the lessons many years after the situation happened. But maybe two things. The first one is I've, at least for a long time, I've had three ways of learning. First one is observation. I don't know if you know or not, but the most natural way we have to learn, we learn from somebody else, is mimetism. I don't know if the word is right in English, but we learn by seeing, by observation. That's also how animals learn from their parents. So I've always had mentors that I would look up to, and just reproduce just what they did. I've always been a copycat in some way, but just choose who you want to copy and on what topic. So observation has been one of my main learning curve. Second one has been reading books. Like, I'm passionate about reading books. I have so many books, and I always feel like I buy a lot more books than I could read in a life. But it's okay. So I guess knowledge is also available, whatever your age. For some people, it's books. For others, it's podcasts, which is an incredible way to learn. For others, it's just internet, whatever, But so I'm a big reader, and I believe a lot of my knowledge also comes from getting inspired by really knowledge and information. And third thing is experimenting, as we just said. But also in my studies, so I was in the Science Sports University in Marseille, which is very close to here, actually. And very early, I learned sports performance because I was a sportsman myself. So looking on how can I increase my performance. But when you try to understand performance, you also define what performance is. And you quickly realize that performance is not only sports, it's not only business, it's not only finance, it's also just being happy, having a healthy relationship with yourself, but also with others, and being in quest for those information on what performance is from a general point of view. Well, you end up rewinding your life, trying to find lessons, that you can also apply for present and future, and it gets you a lot more aware. So, sorry, I'm not really going straight forward to your answer, because I'm not sure I'm able to find the right moment, because I feel like the book of life, the book of my life, I've been rereading it so many times. Like, each time I get a new information, each time I feel like I'm growing up, I feel like I'm going back to the past and rewriting my own memories. I don't know if you know, but most of our memories are either completely invented, just because somebody told us something, we think we remember it, but it's just that somebody told us. But you can also rewrite your memories. You can change them by the way you phrase them in your mind, by the way you think about them. So in some way, I feel like I've always been doing that, reading several times the same book, trying to find lessons. So most of the time, I feel like I'm completely forgetting the bad things that happen in my life, only remembering the lessons and the wins. And that's also how I build my confidence. I feel like I'm an eternal winner, even though I lost so many times,
Yes, I understand, and I agree with you. And also it is true that we actually can sort of restructure our personality by reanalyzing the past and seeing it from different perspectives, right? And it's like, well, I think I can consider myself to be a shy person only because in the past I've acted in a certain way in certain situations, but I can change it. It does not mean that I'm shy until like death.
Exactly.
For my entire life.
Exactly.
Right? It's something that I can actually change in my actions.
And the science behind it is neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain to create new neural pathways. So new groups of neurons that activate, that fire together and wire together to create a new highway of information, which means that you slowly become the product of your new thoughts, of your new actions, and your new habits. And I'm always very excited to talk about neuroplasticity because I believe it's the science of change, and I believe it's also the hope for a better me tomorrow. And it is possible. And it's not possible because you are you and I am me. It's possible because that's the way the human being is built. Same thing for animals, by the way, but for us, bringing consciousness to it and having the technology around us to be able, to learn, to progress faster. So we can all change. Every day is a new opportunity, a new road, a new decision. And some people see that as stressful. I see that as magic, to every day waking up and be like, okay, I can progress. I can be a better person. I can bring better to this world. And if we talk about health, whatever is my health today, again, apart from certain pathologies that need, another treatment, but for a healthy lifestyle of living, that's a matter of waking up every day with the right thoughts, decisions, and actions.
Yes. Also, you told me just before we started talking today that it is your father who is the inventor that he discovered neuroplasticity. So do you think it also played a role in your way of thinking and in your perspective?
That's a good question. Well, first, to bring back truth to the statement, you never have one researcher that makes a finding, right? It's a team. So when I was younger, I was 9 years old. We moved to San Francisco because my dad made a partnership from his neuroscience laboratory with a San Francisco laboratory that was run by a person called Michael Merzenich. He was the team captain in some way, and my dad was part of that team. And as a team, they discovered, all of them, neuroplasticity and its secrets and how it worked. But to be honest, I was not so much of a good student when I was young. So, I knew my dad was working on the brain. I was happy to go to the lab and see what he was doing, but it was more curiosity than a real interest in the brain. But what happened progressively is when I got aware of personal growth, and so that was at my 20s, late 20s, I was trying to understand what is personal growth. And it seemed very either spiritual or conceptual. And as a bad student, I'm not okay with any of those two because I need to understand, I'm not disciplined enough. Well, I was not, now I am, but I was not disciplined enough to just apply. It's not because you're telling me visualize and you will have no traffic jam. This is not possible for me. I'm not intellectually built for that, So I would go home, and at our family dinner that we would have every evening, I would go see my dad and be like, hey, Dad, today we talked about visualization, but I don't understand how it works. Have you any idea of what parts of the brain are used for that? And he would give me the explanation. And my dad is not at all, well, he was not at all in personal growth, but he perfectly knew the anatomy of the brain and how it worked. So it has been crazy interesting conversation on me trying to put science behind personal growth and him putting personal growth behind science. You know what I mean? So we had those incredible conversations, and that's when, in some way, I fell back in love with the brain. At some point in life, I forgot that we are all run by our brain. It's, I don't know how you say the chef d'orchestre. Maybe we can use the French word, right? The chef d'orchestre of our life. The captain of our life is our brain. So understanding how the brain works, and as crazy, complicated it is, at the same times, it's very simple mechanics. And if you know how it works, it dramatically or positively dramatically changes your life, because you're not just doing things because somebody told you to do them. You do them because you know how it works, and you can predict the results even before you have a glimpse of them.
Wow, so you're so lucky to have this kind of figure, a person that you could have, like you had one-on-one time with the scientists of this.
Incredible.
of this size, you can say. So you're really lucky to have that. And you told me that you started to gain interest in self-development in your 20s.
Yes.
So could you tell me, how did it happen? Like, how did you decide to be the coach?
Yes. Well, that's when I had my first business where I sold products on the French market for another company, and I had to build teams. And when you build teams, you have a responsibility of, empowering them, on helping them succeed. And at first, you feel like you want to help them succeed for the benefit of the company, but you slowly fall in love with the process of helping people reaching their full potential. And at first, you're excited by the numbers, but then you're excited by the smiles. You're excited by the lives that change. You know what I mean? Not yours. Yours is okay, but other people. And that's when I fell in love with coaching, where I fell in love with leadership. And you cannot talk about leadership without talking of personal growth, because personal growth is like the cement of leadership. Leadership is not skill set, it's mindset. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, or it's not what you do, it's who you are. So it's about mindset, and mindset is personal growth. Personal growth is two words, growth and personal. So it's me getting better. It's me in my own progress. And in some way, there are two types of leadership. The leadership is leading for better, leading for progress, make tomorrow better than yesterday, building great things. That's leadership. But there are two types of leadership. Collective, when you lead others, but personal. First person you want to lead is yourself. So personal leadership is just personal growth. And what I like behind personal leadership is sometimes it is kind of easy to give others advice. And then when you close your home door, you're not at all the product of your teachings. And don't want to criticize, so I won't give any name, but so many people that do that. They walk on stage, they look powerful, they look confident, they look whatever you want, they have great teachings, but they come home and they are crappy husbands, bad parents, bad lifestyle, or bad health. And I'm like, what the hell, So when you understand the concept of not leading others, but it all starts with leading yourself, the responsibility that you usually get power from to lead others, well, this time you'll get it to lead yourself. So it guides your own and personal decisions differently. And when you open the refrigerator, if you understand the concept of personal leadership, you ask yourself, am I a good leader right now for myself, whether I eat this or that, take alcohol and Coca-Cola or water or whatever, so it gives self-empowerment, self-responsibility, and so I like the idea of personal leadership, which is personal growth.
Mm-hmm. And what was that first business that you did?
It was a network marketing company that sold telecommunication products to the customers. Okay. So if you know the model, it's about building teams and helping those teams progress, thrive, and grind and have success.
Yeah. And today you have your own company, right? Where you offer personal trainings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you do collective workshops, or is it one-on-one?
Yes.
How does it work?
Well, I have three ways of developing my business. First one is coaching. So it's one-on-one individual, and the idea is empowering the other one, letting that other person find the keys to self-performance. It's also trainings that I do mostly with companies, small or very big, and that's a group training and also conference. So conference could be in front of 10,000 people in a stadium or more, whatever.
Okay.
But so those are the three ways that I have to share knowledge.
I have to ask you that because this is very interesting for me. It's regarding the public speaking that you do for example, thousands of people.
Yes.
I'm very interested in how do you do that, because it's really stressful, right, for the majority of people. Yes. So when did you start with public speaking, and how did you arrive at the point where you're doing it effortless, where you're confident?
Yes.
Do you have any magic tricks or behind stage routine that you do every time before performing?
Well, first I have a routine for everything. Not that I'm stuck in my routine, but just, the truth is that the brain doesn't like getting out of its comfort zone, right? The brain that doesn't like novelty. It doesn't like, it likes routine. It's reassuring, because if you don't have clarity on the next steps, then you have obscurity. And obscurity is one of the biggest fear of the human brain, because the human brain's priority is to keep you alive. And how can it keep you alive if it doesn't know what's going to be the next step, what's going to happen? So routine is a very good way to distress the brain, and make you more confident about actions. But to answer to your question, just so that you know, it's normal to be stressed about public speaking. It's called glossophobia. Glossophobia is ranked in many studies amongst the top 3 fears in the world. And scientists try to understand why. And especially through IRMs, they discovered that it was almost the same regions of the brain that were lit in before a public speaking than facing death. So they're like, wow, but why is it that terrifying? And to find the answer, we have to go back hundreds of thousands of years back in our humanity, in humanity's past. When we were hunters and gatherers, and we were living as tribes of, maybe 10, 20, 25 people. So it was a very small tribe. And at that period in time, the tribe equals security, group equals security. And if you are excluded from your group, it means death. It means you will be alone facing adversity, and it's almost impossible to live. And that's still the truth with animals. If a gorilla has a fight with another dominant male gorilla and he loses the fight, he knows he's excluded from his tribe. There are 2 options left. First one is he will die, facing adversity and being alone in the jungle. Second one is he will find another, family that will accept him and welcome him. So the human brain evolves as an organ a lot slower than our society. So we still have our hunter and gatherer's brain, but we are facing a new world where we have regularly to change group, to talk to people that we don't know. So most people that do public speaking, they feel like they are judged, and they feel like if people don't like what I have to say, I will be, judged, excluded, which means for the brain, which means death. As when I walk on stage, I don't walk on stage to take, I walk on stage to give. But the best way to give something is to prepare something. So preparation, I think, is the key to a good public speaking. Give people the merits and the credits they need. And, you're not the powerful person when you're on stage. They are the powerful people. You're just the servants. But so when you prepare your gift, you're confident about it and you're happy about it. And you have one thing in mind. The most stressful part for me before a speech is waiting for my turn, because I'm so impatient to share what I have prepared, because I have prepared. I took time, and the first person that I try to inspire when I prepare a speech is myself. And if I get goosebumps just thinking of what I'm going to share, okay, I know it's going to be a good speech,
So I think that it is this shift of perspective that allows you to perform well.
Yes, it's a mind hack, So that's not the only routine, but it's part of it. Second thing is visualization, because the human brain has a hard time making the difference between what you imagine and reality. And a proof of that is you could be in your couch, thinking of your next flights. And if you're scared of taking the plane, you would have body temperature that would rise, muscular tension, and increased heartbeats, but you're in your couch, like full security.
Amazing.
Just thinking of your next flight. Because again, the human brain has a hard time making the difference between what you imagine and what you really live, because you activate in your imagination the exact same neurons network that you would activate being in the real situation. So that's true and it is a problem. When you think about your problems, your brain thinks you are right now in trouble and living the problems. That's why to ruminate is one of the worst enemies that we have for ourselves. But it can also go on the positive side, which means if you're sitting on your couch or in your shower or walking in, whatever, forest or in the street, and thinking of your next performance as being a success, as, you imagine that all goes well, while you are activating the same network of neurons that will activate when you will be on stage. But when you will be on stage, your brain will be like, oh, I know that place. I've been there before. I've felt that before. I've said those words before, so it's not new. So there's a double benefit. First benefit is confidence, because you don't have obscurity, you have clarity, because it's not new. It's habitual, and you just created that in your mind. And the second thing is, when you activate several times the same neural pathways, it facilitates the neuron communication. It goes faster, quicker, which means that your ability to remember what you need to say, your ability to make it very natural and almost as a reflex is higher, because you just train your brain to use the same neurons and those neural pathways. You know what I mean? So it brings clarity and experience just by sitting in your couch, thinking and visualizing of positive things in life. And you can do it for everything you want.
Mm-hmm. I've also heard that in visualization, it's very important to also visualize the negative things and your reaction to them.
Yes.
Do you think, do you do that? Do you want this being useful to you?
In some way, the word negative is not really a word in my vocabulary, in my mindset. So I'm always like, negative, what is that? Does it exist?
For example, you're on stage and you sort of get prepared to feeling stressed, and how would I react if I'm there and I'm stressed? Yeah. And to sort of prepare for this negative.
Yeah, that's not an angle that I take, at least for that. But sometimes, like for a sports performance, that's what I would do. I would imagine the struggle, but I would always imagine myself being better than the struggle, overcoming the struggle. I would never imagine myself being stressed and stuck in that stressing situation. It's always, okay, I see the monster, sorry for the vocabulary, but I'm going to kick his ass. So I have no problems with obstacles. Life is full of obstacles. Something that I think is kind of saddening, but it's okay, and its reality is, when you look at your kid at birth, you could never promise that baby that he will have an easy life, but you can promise him that he will have obstacles and struggles. So you cannot promise the good, but you can promise the bad, because it is 100% sure he will be. You know what I mean? So the sooner you learn that struggles are okay, it's just, who cares? You just want to always make yourself stronger and better than the obstacle. So you want to talk more about yourself than about the obstacle. So I don't visualize the problem. I visualize myself as bigger, stronger, better than the problem. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so when you're performing, you do visualization, and you want to make it pleasant to you, especially, so you come from the place of sharing.
Yes.
Is there something that you do just those minutes before you enter the stage?
Yes. First, I always read my speech several times, or at least the key points before. Like, let's say I have a talk the afternoon, the morning, I would always reread just the key points. I don't want to. I'm not gonna learn it by heart, because that can be a trap. Because if you forget one word and the brain remembered how it happens, that if you forget a word, the brain doesn't know, it can't make the link. Yeah, you're stuck. So, but I really remember the structure, the structure and the stories that I want to tell. So I reread that several times just to make it very fresh in my mind and memory. And I always get up and stay up. So I'm not sitting at least 30 to 40 minutes before a speech, because I want to have energy moving in my body. Usually, if you see me somewhere, you would see me do like boxing movements. I'm getting excited. I'm physically preparing to be. I want to energize myself. I don't want to be sitting somewhere like if I was stressed before an event. And I always drink water also. I don't know if you know, but there's that incredible study from Amy Cuddy, who's a posturologist from Harvard. And she did that great TEDx speech on that. And she talks about the posture, and that when you get what she calls a power pause for at least 2 minutes or more, so that's like standing straight, arms kind of wide. So after 2 minutes, it's going to lower the secretion of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. I don't have the exact numbers in mind, but I think it lowers from like 20 to 25% of cortisol in your body. And it increases the testosterone, which is a hormone that we find either in female or male, right? It's not a male hormone that increases, self-confidence, trust. And so by just being straight up. So I usually straight up, I walk, I smile. I remember myself and my brain that I'm fucking ready. I'm also very positive, happy to be there. I'm not like, I don't want to be there. Because if you tell your brain that this is a danger, your brain will never encourage you to go there. It's his role to keep you safe. So this is my safe place. The stage is my safe place. If I have the opportunity, I walk on stage before it starts, when I can, but I don't really need it, but that's what I do. And also last hack is I always know by heart my first sentence and my last sentence of the speech, because it is, it's like a boxing match. It's stressful because there's too many uncertainties. So try to bring certainty in an uncertain world. And that starts by mastering your first punch, your first interaction, And if the first 30 seconds go well, in some way, okay, you're past that stressing moment, and then you're in the grind. So yeah. I always remember by heart.
Get like on the right track. Right?
Exactly. Because let's say you start your speech and you don't know what you want to say on your first word, or then you're like, oh, people are looking at me. Oh, I forgot what I want to say. Oh, I'm stressed. And then you go in a very vicious circle. So I always start with a virtuous and not vicious circle.
Okay, fascinating. I will try that before any exam or presentation that I have to do.
Of course.
Especially the physical part. I think it's very interesting. That if you walk or something, because it's true that before taking an exam, I very often sit and you're like, I don't know, I have to do something.
Yes.
It's really unnerving. Yeah. So I think that the thing with physical activity just before, like even the boxing movement.
Preparation of the content. So you want to prepare the speech, prepare your mind, visualization, prepare your body.
Yes.
So yeah. And if you do that, at least it doesn't mean it will be a success, but you'll be ready for whatever comes.
Okay. Hey, if you're still listening, that means that you enjoyed this podcast. We love sharing with you, speaking with our guests, and we are happy to bring all this information to you for free. However, if you like what we're doing and you wish to support our work so that we may keep developing this project, visit our website, hhpodcast.buzzsprout.com, and click the support button to make a donation. You can also follow us on Instagram or subscribe us on YouTube. And don't forget to show our podcast to a friend or a family member if you like it. All the links are available in the description of this episode. And now, back to our conversation. I wanted also to ask you about your work as a coach.
Yeah.
So you intervene, for example, in companies.
Yes.
And you work with personal one-on-one people.
Yes.
And could you tell me what seem to be the problems that you work with the most often in both of these? So maybe we can start with the company setting. There you come and you help people to improve their leadership skills, right? You help them to perform better in their work.
Yes.
And what seems to be the most common problem that you encounter?
Well, the truth is there are many, right? But the trainings that I do the most in companies are leadership, management, and communication. And, we could think that, well, communication is just, what, is it a skill? I mean, we communicate since we're born, right?
Yeah, it's really tricky for me. I also very often thought that a communication, I can do that.
Yeah.
But actually, if you start to pay attention, it's really complicated.
And, communication or effective communication is the art of bonding, the art of linking. I don't know if linking is the word that we can use in English, to link with people. The communication is the art of love, is the art of sharing, is the art of friendship, of connection. So communication is everything. It is the basis of how, as a species, we have been able to collaborate and do what we have done, good and bad, in this world. So, but most people, they miss a lot of things in communication because they think it's natural, because they think it's easy. So this is maybe the topic that I train the most in companies. And just so that there are statistics, there are studies on what makes companies fail, right? Is it external or internal obstacles? Well, the number one obstacle that makes a company fail is not outside, it's inside. It's internal obstacle. And then there's a ranking of what are the internal obstacles, like finance, bad management, or whatever. The number one is conflict, interpersonal conflict. So what prevents a company from succeeding is someone in the boat, that's putting a hole, someone that's drilling his own boat. It's conflict. It's people that are not able to work together. So that's maybe the number one topic that I work on in companies, is finding solidarity, making people remember that the togetherness, or that performance is always collective and never individual. Individual performance doesn't exist. It's a lure. It's never the case. So performance is always collective. So maybe that's the first thing that I work on in companies. And second one is, I see that most people, when I ask them, what's your strength? They're not able to answer. I'm like, okay, so you're 20, 30, 40 years old of life, maybe 50, 60, you don't even know what you're good at. Okay, then tell me what you're bad at. And when I ask them their weakness, like, people could write me a book. And I'm like, how is that possible? How can you know yourself better through your weaknesses than your strength? And if you don't know your strength, how can you take them out of your pocket and use them in your life or in your professional life?
Yeah.
So that means, you are defined by the worst version of you and not by the best version of you. So the struggle in companies is that I see many people that don't know their zone of genius. They don't know their talents. They don't know what they're good at. So they just do what they are told to do. They do what's written on their working contracts. But it is possible that most of what they do, they're not motivated in and not competent. But if you're neither motivated or competent, then you're bad for yourself and you're bad for the company and you're bad for your teammates.
Yeah.
So the second thing is helping people find their zone of talent and genius, and help them bring the best of them to the table, to the team, to the company. And the third topic is leadership and management. And what I see in leadership and management is that most people, they don't see themselves as leaders, as they have team and they are influencing the company and people. So it's working on the mindset of a leader, of the sense of responsibility, and also how to empower others. Those are the main topics that I work with companies.
Okay, and what is your method of work? Do you intervene only once, or do you meet them a couple of times?
Well, it depends, because if it's a coaching, it's like a couple times, usually.
In the companies?
In the company. Well, it can be, long distance, but whatever, usually in the company. But coaching is one-on-one.
Okay.
So, and that's usually like 1 to 2 hours.
So coaching is always one-on-one?
Yeah, coaching is one-on-one.
Okay, and then the training in leadership, this is...
It's a group, like...
It's a group
of 5 to 10 people.
Okay. And so when you're doing a group thing, is it a one-time thing, or is it something that you repeat?
Well, I usually do a one-time thing, but I always have what we call REX, return of experience, that we do like 1 month later, because I want to make sure that what we have told. Well, I always end up a training with an action plan, because I think the mistake that we make about a training is thinking that the training is the time we spend together. Not at all. Training starts when we say goodbye. You know, training is not me telling you what to do. It's you doing the things and making sure it works. And sometimes I give you an advice, it won't work, because it's, you know, I mean, personalities are different, environment can change, your mindset, your emotion that specific time. So there's so much of a gap between theory and practice that you need to. Training comes from experimentation. It comes from trying, failing, trying again, succeeding. Okay, that's what works for me, what that person in that place. You know?
I think also that it's so true in all the areas where you actually can learn something. Because I played an instrument, so this has always been like, you come to the lesson, but it's only to show what you've done yourself.
Exactly.
And it's the same with languages.
Everything.
The same with everything. It's actually your work that counts. And it's not the lesson that is supposed to teach you something. It's yourself actually that has to put in the effort.
Yes. And you know that's a real problem in personal growth, is that a lot of people, they think that because they're going to listen to a podcast, their life will change. No, that's just an impulsion. That's bringing momentum to you. But you're on your bike, your dad pushes you or your mom pushes you. It's okay. It gives you momentum. That's what a podcast does. But if you don't keep on pedaling, I don't know if that's the word in English, but the bike will stop 3 meters later, you know? So
it's a wonderful metaphor.
Yeah. So you want to keep momentum, and momentum comes with trying, with action. So we always have that in training. It's okay. We do the training. So first I do an assessment before the training to know the level of the participants so that I can adapt my training. We do the training, which is usually a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day training. And we always have a 1 day, like 1 month or 2 months after, where I challenge them on what did you do? How did it work? It's a way to help them correct the trajectory, but also put them in an auto-coaching mode, which means you tell me now what you did, how it works, what you learned, you know, how did you adjust? So I know that when I say goodbye for the last time, they probably don't need me anymore, at least on that topic. And when it's a conference, it's, you know, just the purpose of a conference is motivation, inspiration, but it's not a training. So people don't get out of the conference with more than goosebumps, full heart, and
the motivation
and an inspiring idea. But
okay, and then something that's really interesting is that in general, because you work in the professional environment and you work on the professional performance, and so very often we hear that people, that they are stressed at work and that it is the reason for which they are stressed. They have a lot of pressure and so on. So how do you make this training so that it actually helps them and so they do not feel pressure to be even better, if you know what I want to say? It's like, because coaching is very good. It develops your personal skills and your mindset, and you can grow. But I know that there are also some people for whom it might be a bit stressful in a way that, well, now I have to be even better, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that? Do you have like a method of dealing with this kind of perspective that some people might take when they participate in your traineeship like this?
I don't know if I have a method, but I have a mindset that I try to share with them on that specific topic. And that's a great question you're asking, because a lot of people are in quest of perfection. What the hell is perfection? You know, if you open your eyes and you look at nature, do you see any straight lines? Not even one, you know, so everything is curvy, bumpy, full of surprises, perfect imperfections, you know what I mean? So I teach them not to look for perfection mindset, but to, I always do my best mindset. And I always tell them in the beginning of the training, I will give you the book of the perfect manager, but don't feel pressured about it. Just do your best. But if you have your do your best mindset, it means you're in a growth mindset. It means you're not searching for the result, you're searching for the process, for the effort. And I put a lot of more value on the effort than the result, because the end result is like a dish. It's so many ingredients, and some of them you have absolutely no power on. You know what I mean? But what you have power on is yourself and the intention, the engagements, the energy you put in the struggle, in the process, in the I want. So I that's where I kind of calibrate their mindset. So in two ways. First, I tell them, just do your best. And if you do your best, well, there's that guy that I think is so inspiring. His name is Art Williams. He had an incredible company called Primerica, and he would tell his team, all I can do is all I can do, and all I can do is enough if I do all I can do. Okay. Because can you do better than giving in your all?
Yeah.
No. So if you expect a result that's higher than what you can really achieve, the in-between is what we call failure. So that's why perfectionists are, sorry for what I'm going to say right now, but they are serial failures. They are always looking for what they miss. As a person that always does their best, you can be in search for excellence. Excellence is not perfection, but just do your best, give it your all, like don't cheat, you know?
So like change your definition of perfection.
Exactly. Or just fuck perfection.
Yeah.
You know, go full, I'm all in everything I do. And I don't care about the results. The result will be whatever it is. But if I do my best, even if the result is not incredible, well, it means the task was too difficult for me. But then it's, you know, I'm still proud because I made the efforts and I feel like I didn't cheat. You know, so that's the right mindset. And always at the end of a training, also I tell them to focus on one progress point. Because in life, if you try to progress on everything, usually you progress on nothing. Because we all have a crazy life, right? Love, kids, sports, work, finance, family, whatever it is. So trying to do everything or progress on everything at the same time, the same week, usually ends up with, you know, it's like wanting to go up the stairs 4x4. Yeah, you're excited, but when you arrive at the first floor, you know, you don't have any more energy. So it's rather, okay, choose your new skill, you know, and if it is having a new nutrition healthy habit, well, great, create a system, create a habit, and focus on that, you know, so I guess.
Yeah, because then like it creates a sense of empowerment, right?
Exactly. You go for small success, small victories, but it empowers you and it gives you the confidence that, oh, I can do it. And I also believe that life is like a domino game. Each time you push a domino, it has an impact on the next one, right? So let's say you say, my new habit is I want to have a 1 mile walk every day, which is not crazy, right? It's just a 1 mile walk. I didn't even say 1 mile run. But probability is when you come back from your 1 mile walk, you will be thirsty, right? Probably, almost for sure. But if you just did a 1 mile walk and it was an effort for you, not sure you're going to want to drink Coca-Cola because you're going to be like, okay, and sorry for the brand, maybe. What?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's not. It's an.
Okay. So you just made an effort. You just struggled. Do you want to end your struggle with just hurting what you just did? No. So probably you'll drink water. But once you drink water, are you going to eat at McDonald's? I don't think so. Maybe you'll eat a salad, you know, and now that you ate a salad, maybe you want to stretch. And now that you stretch, maybe you want to go to bed a little bit early. And that's how from mastering a first habit, you end up improving your whole, and when you have a better health from nutrition and physical activity, when you look at yourself in the mirror, so you have intellectual and psychological pride, but physically you will slowly but surely yourself kind of change. Yeah. And then you feel more confident. And because you feel more confident, when you see a loved one, you're more ready to.
Yeah, you can also like share more with the other person.
And
It's more of you to like enjoy for others.
Exactly. And you start loving yourself. So now you're not looking for the other person to love you. You love yourself. So love is already inside you. Not because somebody else gave it to you. You took it for yourself. But now that you have it in you, it's easier to give it to somebody else. So because you love yourself better, you'll love others better. And so then, you'll start kissing differently the person, and life rolls from just a 1 mile walk every day. The crazy thing about habit.
That's true. I think in science, it's what we call the keystone habits.
Exactly.
I think that I have encountered this phrase.
Yes.
And it's exactly that. But there are some behaviors that you can adapt and that can actually change the other areas of your life.
Yes.
Because they simply just make you feel different.
Yes.
So you try to seek other things that will also make you feel better. And so you engage in this kind of actions more eagerly.
And there are 2 great books on that topic, if we can promote books. The Compound Effect from Darren Hardy.
Okay.
And Atomic Habits from James Clear.
Yeah, I know Atomic Habits. I think is like
great books.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. That's true. The other one I don't know, so I would be happy to read it.
Same kind and so good.
Also, all the things that you recommend or the articles that you mentioned, we will put them in the comments section for those who are want to inquire more.
Yes.
Also, the TED Talk that you've mentioned, so it will be all available. And I will gladly check that out for myself.
There's that great saying that says, when you share a physical product, you divide it by 2. Mm-hmm. When you share a knowledge, you multiply it by 2.
Yeah,
and I think
I love it.
That's great. That's why sharing knowledge is so exciting, because you feel like you can give freely and you're never out of what you gave,
Yes, I totally agree.
That's so good.
Okay, and then when you work one-on-one with people, how is that work different from the group trainings? How often do you meet? How long does it take for you to, I don't know, like, is it a month, is it a year that I should spend with you if I want to improve?
Well, usually it's like a 6 month, depends. It depends on the individual, depends on why, what, depends on many things.
And what may be the reasons that people come to you?
Well, I'm looking for the words to say that correctly, but I'm not a therapist, right? So if people are looking to go in their life from -10 to 0, I'm not their guy. I know how to help them, but I'm not in my zone of talents. So I think they will find somebody better than me to help them. But if you're looking to go from 0 to 10 or from 10 to 20, that's what we call performance. It's not finding yourself, it's finding your better self. Then I guess I'm your guy. So people come to me when they want to perform better, not when they want, not when they are hurt, but when everything's good, but I want to go one step further. So that's also why it doesn't have to be like a 2, 3, 4 years follow-up, because it's different. We're looking for something different. But then it's not an easy question, because it depends on who, what, why, so many things.
And do you think that more often you use some kind of theory that you've learned, or you use your own experience that you have from your own life?
It's a great question. I don't know anymore. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you feel like, wow, I just came up with that incredible theory, but you just forgot that you read it in a book 10 years before, and it just made sense now because it sticks to something that just happened to you. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I don't know, and I don't care.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Wherever it comes from, thank you for the inspiration, whether it is myself facing the mirror or a book that I read 20 years ago or an advice from a friend on a basketball court. I don't know. I don't care, because today it changes my life, and that's the main thing.
And do you remember your first case?
No, I don't remember, because I think that when empowering others, when helping others is your life's mission, is your life's purpose, is your ikigai, as Japanese people would say. It's something that has been more or less a part of your life from birth. I'm exaggerating, right? But so I feel like all my life people have come to me for advice, whatever it is on, So I'm not able to tell you when did I really materialize the coaching, because in some way I feel like all my life I've shared each time I thought an idea was good, or, so. Yeah.
And what do you prefer, coaching or public speaking?
Public speaking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It.
Well, it gives me more energy. I like having a crowd of thousands of people. It gets me excited. I feel like I can bring an idea to so many people. Yeah. Again, I'm an extrovert, right? I get energized from the group.
And in your personal life, like everyday life, do you have a routine that you follow? Is there a set of things that you do?
Yeah. I have a minimum of 2 routines, a morning one and an evening one. Okay. My morning routine is an energizing routine. I want to start, I'm like kind of people, if, I don't know, someday we go to vacation together, you'll see that first minute of the day, you will see me as excited as if I never slept, right? So, or if I just was awake and aware. I like that my first minute, I'm immediately energized. So I have that morning routine to be energized, and a sérénité in French.
Calm, serenity.
Yeah, serenity or calmness routine for the evening. Okay, so my energizing routine in the morning is when I wake up. First thing I do is I drink water with a lemon, a pressed lemon, not hot water, but
room temperature.
Yeah.
Like tiède.
Yeah. I don't know the right English, but it's okay.
Okay, well, just
okay. Yeah, and truth is whatever, just water and lemon. Then I usually stretch. It's either stretching or meditation. Usually it's mostly stretching that I would do, but for, I don't know, 6-8 minutes, not more. Then either I take a breakfast or I don't, depending on if I'm doing an intermittent fasting or not, which I do at least 2 or 3 times per week. And then I do my toilet and washing, and I read 5 pages of a personal growth book every morning. That's my routine. So I want a physical and intellectual energizing routine.
What book did you read today?
Today I'm rereading the book that I wrote with my dad, because we are writing the second part of the book.
Okay.
So
I have to read that.
Yeah. Well, too bad I don't have it here, but I'll send it to you. No, I offer it. I'll send it to you. So right now I'm rereading the book that we did with my dad, because we have to write the second one. Otherwise, before that one, I was reading a book from Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson was the mentor of Michael Jordan and one of the most successful coach of the NBA. So great book too, about personal growth and performance. And then I always end up my morning routine with 2 goals for the day: a productivity goal and to lower the mental charge.
Okay, it means the mental charge.
Yes.
To relax.
Yes. So one is a productivity, which means it's a business goal. The other one is more like, I need to call the doctor for the kids. I need to call the plumber. Those things that you don't do.
Yeah.
Because...
Okay, so this is kind of a goal that you have to...
things that are on your to-do list.
Yeah, but you never have the time to do that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, truth is you have the time, but you just, because it doesn't seem urgent and important, you just don't do them. But that's what wakes you at night. You're like, oh, no, I didn't pay school for the kids, or, I forgot...
Yeah, that's genius. I have to do that.
So I think that eases my mental charge, because those are things that are on my shitty to-do list, but I don't do them. But then I wake up because I'm like, oh no, I procrastinated. So to wrap up the morning routine, so it's physical with lemon, either fasting or breakfast, stretching. Before that. And then I go from physical to mind routine, which is reading 5 pages minimum. Sometimes it's more, but 5 pages, and that's 6-7 minutes, so it's nothing. 5 pages minimum of a personal growth book, and then my 2 goals for the day. 2 goals that I'm sure I can achieve, right? So it's not easy goals, but it's goals
easy to accomplish.
Easy to accomplish this day, because when you fix yourself a goal that you can accomplish in the day, you get a shoot of dopamine. Dopamine, which is one of the four hormones of motivation and happiness. So I hack my biology with positive hormones first thing in the day.
And it also makes you proud of yourself because like you who achieved that. So it's not just like dopamine because there is new information.
No. Yeah.
It's because it's you.
Yeah. It's not dopamine from scrolling on Instagram, right? It's dopamine from, I know I'm going to have a successful day. And you get another shoot of dopamine when you achieve that goal. But you already get a shoot, okay? And then my evening routine, because I think that one of the biggest mistakes people do in health is to think that the day starts when you wake up. But the day doesn't start when you wake up. The day starts when you go to sleep the day before. Because if you go to sleep the day before and you're stressed, tired, or with anger, you'll see how you'll wake up the day after. I've never seen anyone go to bed angry and wake up happy. I've never seen that in my life. I don't even believe in it, even from a science point of view. You know what I mean? So I make it a goal to go to bed happy, relaxed, and, even though the day has been shitty, I want to go to bed relaxed.
And how do you do that?
Okay, so several things. First thing is, whether I take the car or not, I always take a time to close the chapter of the day. So I kind of redo the day. Okay, what happened today? How did it go? Have I been good or not? What did I learn? What should I change? Okay, what are my plans for tomorrow? I think of that at the end of my business day. And then I always have fun times with family and kids. So my evening routine is I close the chapter of the day, and then I want to have a cuddle like monkeys, like let's groom, let's take care of each other. So I have that very cuddling, fun, love, kissing, and end of evening. And I always go to, so we usually have a pretty healthy dinner, and I always go to bed at least 1 hour or 1 hour and a half before I plan to fall asleep. Because personally, I have, I'm always thinking about many things. So if I go to bed at 11 p.m., I will fall asleep at midnight. But if I'm in my bed at 10 p.m. or at 9:30 p.m., it allows me to read a book. Why not? Maybe watch a TV show, or just be with my wife and, do what we do. But you have that calm time when you can relax, when you can have fun or whatever. And then, so yeah.
Okay, we will have to finish soon as our time is running up. But I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask you. So one of them is regarding your goals. Do you have any goals right now for yourself?
Yeah. I always have goals, right? Again, I believe that if you don't know where you want to go, well, people will push you where they want you to go. So I always have goals. And I always have goals. I always try to respect my wheel of life, which means almost every day I have goals, or every week or month or whatever, on my, love life, as a parent, financial life, business life, health, personal.
And you have them they go together? I mean, you have them all the time, or it's, for example, this month you have this goal, the other month?
I more or less have them all the time. I don't have to write them down all the time, because I've been doing that for so long that I have that clear direction that I want to go, The goals that I write down the most are the business goals, like how many new customers I want this week, or, what I want to achieve this week, or financial goals. Those are the two that I write down. So,
okay. And then when you set your goals, do you also set out a plan of how are you going to achieve them? Do you write it down, or how do you approach?
Yes. When it comes to finance or business, I do. If my goal this week is to be a better dad, and make sure that even though I have a crazy business week, I really close the computer and stop reading emails or being on my phone, during dinner, well, then I don't write it down. I just the idea of having that goal gives me the awareness and the mindfulness of, watching out and doing the things. So I don't need to write them down. But otherwise, yes, I do.
So you set out like, when do I have to do what to succeed?
Exactly. And I really believe that to gain clarity, you need a dream or a goal, which is what attracts you, the end result.
You mentioned at the beginning that it's important to have a goal.
Exactly.
If not, you just drift.
But you also need a why. The why is what pushes you, so the goal pulls you, the why pushes you, and your purpose and mission in life is what gives you the energy along the way. You know what I mean? So one gives you passion, the other one gives you power, and so, yeah.
Okay, and I also have one final question that I would like to ask, which concerns, I would like you to remember to tell me about an event that you think has in some way shaped you more than others. So it can be a failure, it can be a success, it can be just something that you feel has marked you in a way, okay, so that you become who you are right now. Can you identify one event, or do you think it's difficult, or it's a couple of events, or...
Yeah. Again, when you live life at its fullest, which means you have a crazy love life, a crazy family life, a crazy sports life, a crazy business life, so many things happen. So, but when you ask the question, if I'm just like on my instinct, the most events that come to my mind are failures that I'm super okay with. Like I missed my baccalaureate the first year. And my parents are both intellectual and both are in the teaching environments. And I missed that school target.
Baccalaureate, you mean the exam you take after high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what is the equivalent in English.
Depends, because you have either SATs or something else. It depends on the countries.
So I missed it, so that was a big failure for me. I've done boxing for 13, 14 years. And I had that fight that I took kind of lightly because I was fighting a friend of mine that I knew I was better than, because in training, it was an easy win. And I lost that fight. And I was kind of ashamed because many people were watching and not at all. He was so much the underdog and he won. And we were in the same school. So I was like, oh, shit. So that second thing. I remember I lived in Canada for 1 year and... we had to do that oral presentation. It was in English. And when it came, so we were like a group of 3, 4. And it was in that class where I didn't really know the other people I was with. So the teacher said, okay, Swann, well, just partner with those girls. I was, okay, cool. But they were no friends of mine. So, and then, so they did their speech. We did the preparation. They did their speech very well. And then it comes to me. And I'm like, I don't even remember what I'm supposed to. I was completely... So that was a big failure in public speaking, right? I completely forgot what I was supposed to say. I was not able to find my words. So I find that crappy excuse of, English is not my first language, but what the hell? I've lived 2 years in the United States when I was even younger, so no problem with English. But I just missed it. And then I could see those girls looking at me like, we're going to have a bad grade because of you. We don't even know you. You're not,
Yeah.
That social. Yeah, if ever. I remember one of my companies that has been such a big failure that I went from almost being a millionaire to having debt and many banks refusing or firing me. And I was like, shit. So,
Yeah. And do you think those are, in the end, the experiences that have shaped you the most, that have made you the person you're today?
That's the first one that comes to my mind. But then close to that comes all the success,
first.
So I guess, again, success, failure, who cares?
Roller coaster.
And roller coaster of life, it's just the fun of life. And there's always a lesson. So that's what I take of all of those moments.
Okay, it's very inspiring. So thank you for sharing all your thoughts and ideas and your experiences. Maybe you can tell the listeners, where can we find you in the internet? So if someone would like to get in touch with you, through which media can someone get in contact?
Yes.
Is it on Facebook or LinkedIn, or do you have on your website?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Because I never feel like I need to promote anything because I'm
but
just
maybe someone has a question.
But of course, and and I'm building my social networks right now to bring value. Not to have followers, who cares, but to bring value to those who follow, how many, whatever the number. So yeah, there's my Instagram, Facebook. I'm building my TikTok account soon. Okay. I have a team that's going to help me for that. Yeah. Of course, LinkedIn, and I have a website. My company name is The Best Me. So if you go on thebestme.life, well, you are follow my company website.
Okay, so also put the links in the description of
please,
the show.
And with my, Swann Xerri is such a weird name and last name that
I don't know. I think it's really nice.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Well, my name is very difficult to pronounce for the majority of their grades.
Yes.
I think Swann Xerri is better.
Okay. Yeah. So anybody that types my name on internet, they will find all the information.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you for your trust. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Yeah. Pleasure.
Mine too. I think that's the way we can make this world a better place to live in, right? Is by partnering, by remembering how humanity was made and built, by collaboration, by sharing,
context, right?
by
conversation,
by sharing knowledge, by trying to give without trying to take. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
As promised, at the end of the episode, I bring you the challenge that Swann has prepared for you. Since he himself has a well-established daily routine, he would like to invite you to start developing your own healthy habit. Let's start simple. The challenge from Swann is to make sure to read every day 5 pages of a book that interests you. You can choose whether you will read 5 pages in the morning, in the evening, or sometime during the day, but try to read every day at the same time, as the repeated context will make it easier to develop and keep up this routine. Perhaps you will swap mindless phone scrolling for an insightful read during breakfast. Maybe those 15 minutes before you drift into dreamland become your literary sanctuary. Or could it be that the 5 pages will accompany you on your daily commute? Read and let us know what's your book for this challenge. If you get to learn something interesting, and especially if you're choosing a non-fiction book, let us know. Text us on Instagram, tag us in your story, or right here in the comment section. Good luck and see you next time on Healthy Habits Podcast.